And a jolly good morning to you from a bright and sunny, quite warm actually, April morning here in the city of Leicester, Leicestershire in England. And I'm going to continue my series of walks around English towns and cities that I class as one-team towns. What I mean by that is the towns in this country that have a professional football team that plays in the English Premier League or Football League, and there is only one of them, so that discounts places like Manchester, Liverpool, London and one or two others where they've got more than one team. So there's loads and loads of towns and cities. I'm just going to pick out a selection over the next year or two and get to as many of them as I can during that time. And today is the day of Leicester. And firstly, while we're still talking about football, let's say a big congratulations to Leicester City, who have just gained promotion back to the Premier League. They're a football team that's had mixed successes and good and hard times over the years, and in the fairly recent past at least actually won the Premier League against all odds and against all predictions, but they did it. Since then they've been there or thereabouts for a few seasons in the Premier League, got relegated, and this season have down to the Championship and have since been promoted back as league winners. I think they've got one more game to play, and if they win that game at home in the coming weekends, then they will go up having gained 100 points, which is no mean achievement. So congratulations to Leicester City. This is probably a city that's feeling very pleased with itself at the moment, particularly if you're a Leicester City fan, and have it on fairly good authority that if you're from Leicester, you support Leicester. And I like those towns. I like that vibe where everybody's in it together, or not, as the case may be. So I'm going to set off on a walk, about 6-mile walk from here at Leicester railway station, and see where it takes us today. So let's go, let's have a look, and let's see what Leicester's looking like on this fine and sunny April morning. And very impressive railway station here at Leicester. And has a very, very good train service from here into London and places north such as Derby, Nottingham, Sheffield, Leeds, and good connections east and west also towards Birmingham, and I believe there's a service that goes off to Stansted from here too. Anyway, I'm using an app today called Go Jauntily. I've probably mentioned it on numerous occasions. There are other apps available that will take you on a, let's say, a more scenic route around towns and cities or places that you want to walk around. You can set a distance that you'd like to walk. You can do circular walks, you can do walks from A to B, and it will take you on a route with, let's say, more interesting things to look at, as opposed to, say, Google Maps, which will probably just send you the quickest route down a busy road. It will find the public footpaths for you and walks across parks and so on and so forth. I don't know where it's going to take me today. I've put in 6 miles. That's purely based on the amount of time I've got today, and I'll let Go Jauntily take me on a little wander around this city of Leicester, heading off into the main city centre by the looks of things. This is a city I've been to many times over the years, passed through, spent some time here en route to other places when there's been a little wait for a train connection, and I find it quite a nice kind of place really. It's got everything you'd ever need, particularly if you've got an hour to kill at the railway station. It's a quick, easy walk into the centre of the city, as you can see already. It's quite early in the morning, so not much will be open yet, but that isn't the particular purpose of this walk today. Lots of pubs down here, lots of shops, cafes and so on and so forth, and you've also got those at the actual railway station itself. Sorry to see that that looks like it's closed down, where the Simon Pucker Pie is the Granby Fisheries. That was always used to be quite a good place to go and pick up some fish and chips if you had a bit of time to wait for a train. So in about 6 miles time I shall return back along Granby Street there, but the app is sending me down Northampton Street to begin the circular walk. Incidentally, just going back to football briefly, Leicester City did play a game last night away from home at Preston and won 3-0, so although they'd already gained promotion, they were still giving it some, so to speak, and a fine win for them there, and they will finish their season off in front of their own fans this coming weekend, and well, again, well done to them. What I really like is about using discovery apps, for want of a better term. I'm not quite sure what they're actually called, but ones that will take you on, let's say, a more scenic walk around a particular part of town, city or countryside, is that you tend to stumble across places that you just never knew existed, and I find that absolutely fascinating. In London it's just the same. If you go to my channel you will find lots of videos of me wandering around London, various other cities and towns in the UK and also in Europe and beyond, so worth a look. If you like this video, by the way, don't forget to give it a little tick for like, maybe subscribe to the channel and go and have a little look and see whatever else takes your fancy on there. Just reaching Colton Street and the sign says St George's Cultural Quarter, and I believe I'm heading down this way. Very interesting, actually. Just come across Serbian Orthodox Church of St George the Great Martyr, and that all written in Serbian as well. Well, I never knew that. I'm presuming there must be lots of Serbian people live here in Leicester. A very, very multicultural city. That's a fact. I've never heard Serbians mentioned, but fair play to them. They seem to have their own church here. I can only assume this was a Church of England church at some point, and certainly the cemetery here would suggest that's the case. Can't see too many Serbian names in there. Going out onto Orton Street, or Rutland Street actually it says there. My app says Orton Street, must be just round the corner here. Orton Square, there we go, St George's Cultural Quarter. Incidentally, I will just mention, I have mentioned this on the last few videos, I received a few comments about music on my videos, some liking it and some most definitely not liking it. They said they'd rather hear the sound of the countryside or the city or everything else, and so I'm going to try a few without music, so feel free to comment what you think about that. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you prefer some music? Especially the shots where there's no talking going on, and just let me know, or if you don't care, tell me you don't care. Stick a note in the comments. So I just headed out of the city centre area now, and the cultural quarter, just through a fairly standard kind of industrial part of the city. We're on Wharf Street South, to be precise, and looking at the map, I think we're going to be heading out towards the river and taking a little walk around the green areas around there before circling right the way back round, coming in back to the city centre further down the main street there and back through towards the station. So yeah, with any big cities, of course, there are areas that are, you know, less than attractive to the touristic eye, but it's all part and parcel of a busy working city, especially an industrial one like Leicester is, with a long history. Just coming down to St Matthew's Way now. We're going to take a left turn onto this road, cross over, and a right turn just a little bit further down, so I won't be on this busy road for too long. Signpost there, sending you to on the A607 to Melton Mowbray, for pork pie connoisseurs. That is allegedly ground zero for pork pies. It's been a very long time since I've been to Melton Mowbray, and I do seem to recall quite a lot of bakers there selling their version of what they think a pork pie should taste like, and I can't recall tasting a bad one. In fact, I'm pretty sure they were all pretty good. So if you like that sort of thing, pop into Melton Mowbray for a pork pie. Seem to be heading off towards Golden Mile Abbey Park, just where this flyover goes over. Looks like I'll be taking a right turn underneath there. That's certainly a place I've never been to, and it's also in the direction of Melton Mowbray. Don't think I'll be quite walking that far today. Not the same one as in London, obviously. Bit of a busy part of the city here with this flyover, massive roundabout, lots of cars on the move. But we'll soon be moving away from this, and yeah, the app seems to be sending me off in that general direction, where I also see a sign pointing towards Golden Mile Abbey Park. So that's good news as far as I'm concerned. This is Charter Street, just walking over to now, and once we get a little bit further along here, we will be coming to the Grand Union Canal, which goes from London to the Midlands and through Leicester. And I've featured a few videos, certainly in and around London, around the Regent's Canal, where it intersects with the Grand Union Canal near Paddington Basin, and referred to it there. I was also walking across it or round it, and maybe slightly along it in Willesden on another video. So the Grand Union Canal does pop up quite frequently in this country, particularly attached to places of industry, as of course that was the arteries before the railway, and before we had anything resembling decent roads. Some would argue we still haven't got decent roads, and the railway is struggling a bit at the moment, but the canals were the original method of transportation if you forget Roman roads and horses and carts and stuff like that. So I'll come into that fairly shortly. Mattioli Arena, yeah, I've heard of that. Home of Leicester Riders basketball. Do you know, I never expected it to look like that. I've never been down here before. I have heard of the Mattioli, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, arena, and there it is. It's almost like a sort of a factory that's been converted into an arena. Interesting. There's presumably where the sports arena actually is, inside that portion of it there. Abbey Park, Pioneer Park. Seem to be here, right? So here I am, and I appear to be being sent that way by the app. So as always, I will follow the app and see where it takes me. So straight over the Grand Union Canal here and into Abbey Park. I'm sure that this walk won't just include a little brief glimpse over there. I think looking at it, it would appear to be taking me initially along the canal, which gets my vote straight away. I love walking along canals and rivers. Check out my walks along the River Thames and the Lee navigation in the River Lee. In fact, I've got a walk that goes all the way from Luton to London over 9 different episodes along the River Lee and the River Lee navigation down to the Thames. If you're interested in that sort of thing, check it out. And I've got a wander walk planned in London from Croydon to Wanstead, is it, in London. So I will fit that into my very busy schedule at some point. But this is nice. We're probably a 10 to 15 minute walk from the railway station to here, if you don't stop to look at things like I've been doing. And you're down by the canal and that fine park over there, which I believe we'll be walking back through later on. Canals are a wonderful thing, and thankfully they weren't allowed to fall into complete disrepair once the railways took over the mantle of transporting goods up and down the country more quickly and efficiently, and probably more cheaply, back in the 19th century. And they've been preserved and looked after, and now are the home to many people that live on the water or have boats that they use at the weekends to sail up and down. And of course there's quite a big business in this country going on a canal barging holiday, where you can rent a longboat and sail up and down for a couple of weeks at is it 3 miles an hour you have to go, or 5 miles an hour, but a very sedate rate of speed anyway, and a very relaxing way to spend some time. Canal and River Trust look after this. This is a lock, I'm sure most of you know. Very sad to see so much litter ending up in there, but I guess in the middle of a busy city it's sort of to be expected in many ways. Things just kind of blow out of dustbins. Not all of it's accidental obviously, but some of it will be, of course. Very sad to see. A sign telling you what the name of the lock is. Oh, there it is. It's on the gate. Lime Kiln Lock. Usually there's a sort of a sign. Oh, I think there's one over there actually on the wall, but it's a bit dark, can't really see it from here. I'd have to cross over the lock gates to go and have a read of that properly. Beautiful down here. And incidentally there as well, if you're interested in space, there is the National Space Centre, as in outer space, and the Abbey pumping station, the signpost for it there. I believe the National Space Centre is a fascinating place to visit. Not going to have time for that today, but as always, these things go onto my list of must-dos at some point in time. And of course, one of the great things about canals is before the combustion engine, canal boats used to be pulled along by horses, and so therefore there's a towpath that the horses would have trotted down or walked down and pulled the barges. This bridge wouldn't have been here. Some canoes there just parked underneath, or moored, I suppose I should say. But yeah, with most canals, unless the towpath fell into disrepair and it was never repaired, pretty much you can walk next to the canal for its full length. And at one time this would have been a towpath with horses on it pulling the boats along. Got a chimney there as well. Sign of the times there. Look at all the mobile phone masts on there. As I get further down the canal, there's still over on the other side there, still lots of old buildings, presumably industries that used to use the canal, and some houses there as well, backing onto the canal, which I must say actually, that's a nice place to be overlooking from your upper windows. And still hear the sounds of the city. It's gradually getting quieter as we move along. And a few of the local wildlife here just sitting in the sunshine, enjoying this very, very pleasant April morning. In fact, it's almost May. It'll be May tomorrow. They're hoping I've got a bit of bread for them or something. Ooh, hiss. Yeah, can be a bit aggressive, the geese. Especially if you stare them out. Not seen too many people down the towpath this morning. It's a normal working day. Just seen a couple there out for a little jog. This would be a pretty good place. Towpaths and so on are usually quite good places to go for a jog, although they're also quite good places to go for a bike ride, as long as you pay attention, of course, because if you don't, you know what might happen. And you don't want to be in there swallowing any of that water. I'm going to be intersecting the River Soar just along here, which is a main waterway through the city, and I would imagine is a source of water supply for the canal. You tend to find that canals are the water supplies are usually from rivers which on the whole aren't navigable. Canals built to be navigable, so they need a water supply, keep the water at the more or less the same level year round, and they use the rivers and sometimes what would you call it, water, the engineering anyway, let's put it like this, is quite interesting. Let some water in from a river at one end, don't want it flowing either. That looks to me like a drainage, I don't even know what you'd call it, a kind of a drainage overflow place. So then when the water gets to a certain height, the water flows over the top and takes it away into a gully. Because, as I say, the main point of the canal is to keep the water, although not flowing at all, just flowing very, very, very slowly, if at all, and at more or less the same level. And of course, to use locks uses an awful lot of water. So every time you raise a lock or drop a lock, you're also transferring a lot of water from one part of the canal to another. So that needs topping up, otherwise the higher part of the canal would run out of water completely. So it's a fantastic bit of engineering. In fact, it's walking the full length of the River Lee once it becomes a navigation at Hatfield or where in Hertfordshire. Very interesting to see how the River Lee and the Lee navigation are combined to provide water supplies and overflow and balancing. Great engineering, and simple engineering really, but most engineering is best when it's kept simple. Just to the left of me, the map is saying that this is called Cosby Walk. A nice little squirrel there, actually. There we go. Yeah, he's got his eye on me. Cosby Walk, which appears to be some rather nice looking apartments that don't look like they've been there all that long. And again, always nice to be next to the water, I think. There is a lot of litter in here in the canal here in Leicester, which is very sad to see. I can see a load more just here. A lot of it seems to get caught up in all the branches and trees hanging over on the other side where there isn't a towpath, and it also congregates around where the locks are usually. I'm not saying all of it's been thrown in deliberately or clumsiness has caused it, but certainly it's not all got here by accident. Still, I do tend to go on a bit about rubbish. I'll try and ignore it because it is a bit frustrating to see, I have to say, when you've got beautiful old canal infrastructure like this in a big city like Leicester. A great asset to the city, and then people are throwing rubbish in. But there you go, that's modern life, I guess. Beautiful morning for a walk down here, I have to say. Come out to another lock in a moment. I think I have to walk up over the top this time. Sometimes the towpath swaps sides as well, which might be the case here. Yes, indeed, cross over this little bridge onto the right hand side as we're walking, as after this lock, the River Soar joins us, and presumably the canal and river are all one for a little while. I'll see in a moment. I can certainly aware on the left hand side, I can hear that'll be the water being controlled into the canal. And presumably any excess water gets channelled off in another direction. It's the usual way of things. And here you go. So in fact the water, that's interesting. So you've got a lock there, you've got water coming from the canal really, keeping the water level in the canal down to a reasonable level, and the lock there which obviously you can't send the boats over the weir, so you have to send the boats through the lock to get down to the lower level of the river stroke canal down there. And this is called Belgrave Lock, number 44. I'm presuming number 1 is in London somewhere. Interestingly here, because obviously the canal is now also, or the river is forming the canal or the navigation, there's a water level reading for the stream warning, because certain boats won't be suited to fast moving water, which may occur at certain times. It doesn't look too bad heading on down here, but this in effect is a river and canal combined. Doesn't look like these locks are used too frequently with the amount of rubbish that's built up by the lock gates, but there you go. Maybe they're never used. Certainly not so many boats moored up along here, and I've not seen any marinas yet either. Yeah, he doesn't like me either. Very wet towpath just here. Presume that's with the, oh yeah, and it's muddy as well. That'll be water and mud seeping in from the side here. Had a heck of a lot of rain during winter this year. It's really not very good just here. Wasn't planning on walking through any mud today, but looks like I've managed it. Right, walk through the parking in the grass later, should clear that back up. Yeah, so the flow here, where this is, I mean, there's an obvious flow of water now, where the canal has turned into the river. And I'm presuming at some point further along, the canal and river will be a separate entity again. We shall see if I come to that, or I leave this area before then. Because at some point I'm going to be taking a kind of a left circle back all the way around over there, back into Leicester. So I've just come away from the river temporarily. For some reason I've been sent round this way. We'll go back over the river a little bit further down and then start heading back in a anti-clockwise route back towards the centre of Leicester. Probably about 2 miles into the 6-mile walk at the moment, I would say. There doesn't appear to be a towpath along the river portion of that we've just reached. It's just kind of on this road stroke footpath, which is way up from the side of the river. That's just through the greenery and just over there. Just going to also turn away from the river now also. Must have been some form of towpath, otherwise how would they have pulled the boats along? Could use the flow of the river in one direction, but definitely not in the other. Interesting. Instinct says I should be going that way. The app is telling me to go this way. Belgrave Gardens, these will be. And through there is Belgrave Hall Museum, which won't be open yet anyway, but I'll have a look later just to see what kind of museum it actually is. This route that I've been sent on here is going to kind of circle around it and go past it to my left, further round up here. This is just really housing estate surrounded by the gardens there and what appears to be a churchyard. Also have a busy main road, Loughborough Road, in fact, just here. Not going to be walking along it, seems to be going straight across. Just turning off Beckett's Road down to Claremont Street. Seem to be just going through a few side roads, just off a few main thoroughfares in this part of the city. As I say, the Go Jaunty app does tend to send you down quieter roads rather than busy ones, and a more say long-winded way, but usually more pleasurable way of getting from wherever it is you want to go to, particularly if you're doing an A to B walk. Today's a circular walk, so it's fitting in the distance that I put as the distance and the time I wish to walk for. And sometimes adds little wiggles onto your walk just to add that extra bit of distance on. And I think this is just one of those cases of adding an extra 100 yards onto the walk to reach the distance that I requested, as I've just gone round in a funny little circle, really ended up back on Loughborough Road here. I've got the green man, so let's turn red halfway across, that's the usual. Still green. Thurcaston Road is now where I'm being sent. Belgrave Hall Conservation Area. So the helpful brown sign here showing that Belgrave Hall is to the left. Interesting looking pub there, the Talbot. I don't know if that's any good or not, it looks okay. Thurcaston Road, Leicester. And there we go. Belgrave Hall. Well, I'm being sent down this way. Unfortunately for me, we're turning into Belgrave Gardens, back into relative nature and countryside. Looks like they keep the gardens or park, how some are now being kept, allowed to kind of overgrow, to allow the insects and wildlife to thrive a little better than a carefully manicured park. Looks like it was probably very carefully manicured at one time. That's certainly overgrown now, and looks like normally they pop a sign up actually saying being allowed to grow wild or whatever, but haven't seen a sign saying that as yet. And although you can't really see it just through the trees and bushes there, and down below probably 5 to 6 metres lower than the level I'm on at the moment is the river again, which we're going to intersect up here shortly. Not going that way. It just says welcome to Little Mead and Leicester's historic villages, Belgrave, travel and transport. The story of Leicester. Sounds interesting. Again, another place I'm going to have to pop on my list. But the app that I'm following today to keep me on track and within my time schedule that I've got today is taking me back here, back over the river. Sort of a footbridge added here quite a long time ago by the looks of it. Some people didn't walk across this road, presumably once the road started to get too busy. Here we are again, sadly with that quite the funky aroma of stagnant water just there. River Soar. That's how we say it, isn't it? Soar. Not sewer. Although it did smell a little bit like that, but just back there. So, spinning back round, so we're heading back in a general direction of the city centre now, with a few little wiggles along the way by the looks of it. And Ellis Meadows. Welcome to Ellis Meadows. Just looked on the map to see what this was called, but it didn't seem to want to tell me, strangely. So there we go. Luckily there's a sign. And named after John Ellis. Who was John Ellis? John Ellis promoted the growth of railways in the 19th century, and in particular the building of the Leicester and Swannington Railway, bringing cheaper coal from the northwest Leicestershire coalfields into the heart of the city, allowing Leicester to grow. A noted liberal political reformer and a member of the Quaker Church, he was a Leicester councillor in 1836, as well as local MP from 1848 to 1852. And on it goes. More history about Leicester. As I say, it's a very historical city, and he was, I guess you could say, instrumental in the downfall of the canal and the transportation of coal, etc., along the canal system by using the railway instead. Some fairly new looking houses over there, or newish anyway. And the river is just over there, a bit of an embankment built up, presumably to protect from a bit of flooding when the water's high. As I've kind of turned a corner heading back towards the city in a roundabout sort of way, and on the app it gives you a number of points. They're just points where you're changing direction, turning left, turning right, whichever. And for this particular walk there were 82 of them, and I'm now on 48, so I guess I'm just over halfway. If those points average out equally over the whole walk, which I guess they do. And there's 82 of them. It's a fairly sort of nondescript park, or gardens really, park. Certainly very pleasant, nice footpath to jog along or cycle along. And plenty of space to come and sit and have a picnic or something in the summertime. Get a game of cricket on there. Sort of. Just coming to the end, or I think the end, or yes, going to be joining another park by the looks of it. Just ahead of me is the river, and just over there is that weir, so I'm going to be continuing the walk on the other side of the river, and on where the river continues back through Leicester rather than next to the canal. I can just see a lock gate over there and hear the weir actually, so it just splits over there and turns back into, well, not back into, we're back where we were as two separate entities. Not sure what this is called, because we appear to have left Ellis Gardens now, or Ellis Park, or whatever it's called. This is a lovely area actually. Make your way down to this part of Leicester. So obviously you have the National Space Centre, that's called the Pod apparently, just looking at it now. So there's more to it than just that. You've got the Abbey Pumping Station and Pioneer Park. So down in that direction, but sticking faithfully to the app And the walk that I've put in today, I should be going straight on here. Rocket Tower. You hear that? Cyclist? Just don't know why I said it. Welcome to Leicester. Probably because I was filming. Very interesting looking place. Here's sending me left over the river to Abbey Park, Golden Mile and City Centre, although the app's sending me straight on. Dock Leicester. Dock Leicester, 1 minute away. And we'll be shortly arriving at the Abbey Park. We did skirt around it earlier on in this walk, very briefly, before going along the canal. And be walking back through the park very shortly. That's at the end of this path, or path as they would say here in Leicester. And back into Abbey Park. Which is also on the National Cycle Network. Water certainly flowing more slowly in here as the river is essentially a lake. Normally also created by some fine engineering to stem the flow and create effectively a flood really, isn't it, to create a lake. And that's what the weir further down there will be, that leads onto the canal, holding back the water up here. Looks like there's another weir just over there as well that I can hear. Cardinal Wolsey's gravestone is just over to the right there in the Leicester Abbey, which I'm just going to go and see what we can see through this gate. A little bit more manicuring going on in here. There's the Abbey over there. And gravestone somewhere over there as well. Beautiful. Heritage site, uneven surfaces. Keep the heritage of uneven surfaces. And another weir here, all part of the water engineering. Absolutely beautiful morning for a walk in any park anywhere. Bit of a breeze blowing, so sorry if that's making a bit of a noise across the microphone. I'm going to be taking that bridge over the river. Apparently just up here on the right is a cafe. I think it was called Peppercorns Cafe, I think it said. Possibly not open quite this early in the morning, though it's yeah, maybe it's gone 9 o'clock now, so imagine it's a useful place. And certainly along here, absolutely ideal to sit down if you brought yourself some a drink and sandwiches and things, just to sit here looking over the water. Fantastic. Well, there's Peppercorn's Cafe. This is actually closed at the moment. Eat-in, takeaway. Fine old building that as well. That's been used for that. Sadly it's closed at the moment. The map does also suggest that there's some public toilets, which are becoming very few and far between in this country, sadly, with the councils closing them down. Always guarantee that wherever I walk there'll be some sort of truck that wants to go across where I'm walking, and today's no exception. Beautiful here, lovely old bridge as well. Miniature railway in here. A sign for some more public toilets. Wow. Boating Lake. Lovely park, absolutely lovely park. And there's an outdoor gym too, somewhere in that general direction. But the app is sending me down this way. Back across the river on the other side of it now. As we head back towards the centre of Leicester. I think the sign back there said about 1.25 miles, although I suspect the route I'm taking will be a little bit more than that. I'd say that I've probably completed about 4 miles out of the 6 so far. Oh, I can see the outdoor gym actually over there. Actually, it's quite an impressive one. Probably doesn't come out on the camera, but yeah. And for those of you that are interested in those sorts of things, there's a miniature railway just here. Presumably only open on weekends and in the summertime and school holidays, etc. It's an above ground miniature railway. It's on a huge viaduct. Abbey Park Miniature Railway. Certainly no signs of that being in operation today. And again, this is a Tuesday in April, outside the school holidays, so despite the fact the weather is absolutely beautiful today, I doubt there'll be enough people wishing to go on that. This is certainly a fine park, and I did not know of its existence until today. Despite the number of times I've been to Leicester in my life, I've tended to stick to the city centre, usually because I've not really stayed here for great long periods of time, so usually been in conjunction with connecting for a train for somewhere else or that sort of thing. Let's see what we can see here. Tickets on sale here. There's a smell of a railway just as you walk past it, actually. No real indication as to when it's going to be open again. Sure, it's got a website. You can find out the answer should you wish to come here and have a little ride on it. I presume you ride on it. Yeah, you must do if you've got to buy tickets. Silly thing to say. I suppose what I'm thinking of is model railways, or large model railways that you don't ride on. You watch them going round. I guess that's the difference. And we're going to be leaving the park now. Beautiful park, absolutely great. I'm I'm sure that gets packed out at weekends. This is Caves Walk in memory of William Cave. That's the South Lodge, I believe it was called. And out we go, and back across the Grand Union Canal. Seems hours since we originally crossed over it, but it's probably more like 2 hours ago. This is planned to be about 2.5 to 3 hour walk, dependent on how much time I decided to dawdle, let's say. Those of you watching from other parts of the world, that means just sort of amble around, go slowly, wind my way. Starting to pick up the louder noises of a big city again now as we head back towards the centre of Leicester. And I do believe this will be the last look at the Grand Union Canal for now. It does feature in one or two other of my videos. I think we joined the canal just along there somewhere earlier on today. Looks like an alleyway you probably wouldn't want to be hanging around down at night, this. There's a few nefarious activities going on around here, I dare say. At 9:30 on a Tuesday morning, we're good to go. Back through those sort of edge of the city industrial areas. Just come up to Leicester College. Just ahead of us there, that's a white looking building at the end of the road. Just heading through the cemetery or graveyard of St Margaret's Church. It's a slightly sketchier part of town. Under this underpass across the main road back into the city centre over there. I'm sure you get some interesting characters hanging around here at certain times of the day. Some of the evidence on the floor would suggest it is a bit of a gathering point. Oh, I thought I was going to be going under there actually. Seems to be locked off now. Yeah. Yeah, I'm guessing these underpasses are closed off for a reason. Looks like the kind of place where undesirable activities probably took place. And looking at some of the evidence on the floor just now, that would back up my theory somewhat. Anyway, heading off up that way, not towards Castle Park. There's another park in that direction over there. I'm heading up there. Very busy intersection this, so I can understand why there was an underpass, but maybe no one could use it if it was frequently used by people misusing substances and things like that. Incidentally, there's Leicester St Margaret's bus station just there, which if you come by National Express or bus to Leicester is probably where you'll end up. Please do not paint this wall. Yeah, I mean most big cities have areas like that, and and well, Leicester Council seem to have done something, or tried to do something about that particular one at least anyway. Certainly lots of places to get your hair done and your nails and various other parts of your body adorned in some way. Followed by a pizza or a kebab. Plenty of that. This is the street to be on if you need any of those things. So just entering the main centre of Leicester now, where you'll find all the shops and pubs and restaurants and everything. That's the surprise, surprise, the clock tower. And inside that shopping centre there, High Cross, at one time there used to be a Cinnabon. I don't think it's probably still, but I used to, on trips to America, pick up a Cinnabon. I used to get calories there in them, and I thought, oh, maybe not. But they did make a bit of a start in the UK. I think there's a few Cinnabons still knocking about. But if you want a very high calorific cinnamon roll that tastes absolutely fantastic, and you've got a very, very, very sweet tooth, then pick up one of those if you see one. So there you go. There's a little walk today around Leicester. I've been completely at the mercy of the Go Jauntly app. It's a big city. There's lots of stuff here. Lots of things to see, lots of areas to see. Oh, there's another one, Popeyes. That's a good chicken in there. And I barely scratched the surface as always, but I hope you enjoyed this particular video. If you did, then please click on the like button, subscribe if you want to see some more, particularly from my series of one team towns and cities, of which Leicester of course is one. And click on the yellow bell if you want to receive notifications when the videos come out. I've got about nearly 800 videos on my channel, so please feel free to have a little look, and please comment on whatever you've seen, whether you enjoy it, what you don't enjoy. Do you like the music, not like the music? Let me know. So once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers for now. Bye.